When it comes to money, women are often uncomfortable or even fearful of how to handle it, unless, of course, it's a sale. That's why we're sitting down today with Janet Elaine Fresquez with Armor Wealth Management to find out exactly when and how to start our financial planning. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to have you here. You know, I think of the days growing up with my grandmother and grandfather, and I don't even think my grandmother knew where my grandfather kept the credit cards.
There's a lot of women like that.
It's kind of scary if you think about it. What made you want to go into assisting women in financial planning?
Well, at Armor Wealth Management, we work with a lot of companies, but we're affiliated with the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. And the president and CEO of Penn Mutual is a woman, Eileen McDonald, and she's been just very proactive about promoting financial literacy for women through the Worth for Women initiative.
When it comes to financial planning for men versus financial planning for women, are there differences? And if there are, what are the special challenges for women?
Well, even in the same income bracket, men and women are going to face a different set of circumstances and challenges. I mean, for instance, on average, a woman is going to live 5 years longer than her husband. So her retirement savings need to be more and they need to last longer. But on average, a woman takes 12 years out of the workforce taking care of others. So she's not paying into an employee-sponsored retirement plan. She's not even paying into Social Security.
Really? For those 12 years? I didn't even think about that. So you would say that for a woman, you would need to plan more aggressively.
And when they're younger, yes, absolutely. And on top of that, at the end of retirement, women are more likely to spend those last few years in a nursing home. 81% of nursing home residents are single women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so if you're a single old man, you know where to find them, huh?
Yeah. But women are the caregivers of society, Leanne.
I agree with you. I think that's something that inspired me to really start the show, was the fact that I do think women have a tendency to give and never ask for themselves, never take care of themselves. And so that's kind of why I wanted to sit down with you today, because I myself, you know, I have some money and I'm always hesitant to lose it. You don't want to make a mistake. You really don't. I think we sit in fear a lot, and I think it's time that we learn to be informed rather than be fearful.
I think fear can play into it sometimes, but also I think complacency is a factor as well. You know, when we're having babies, raising children, sometimes we have to take care of grandchildren, elderly parents. A woman's focus is on taking care of others.
Yeah.
It's not on taking care of herself.
Yeah, and we get comfortable doing that, and then we forget to come back to taking care of ourselves.
Exactly.
And we all need to be reminded of that.
Exactly. There's a real need out there right now for financial literacy for women.
I completely agree with you, and I think you're right. I think the fact that because we're not school educated, we have a larger hesitancy to really be confident in what we're doing. Anything I learned in school, I learned. Yes, it's right, but if you feel like you learned it on your own, you still have that self-esteem issue of, I learned it on my own, is it right? Do you think that women are more or are they less realistic when it comes to financial planning?
I think women are more realistic when it comes to financial planning. They just need to get realistic about their long-term goals. Like I said, for their long-term care, their retirement planning, they need to start thinking out farther in the future and not just focus on the week-to-week, month-to-month.
But don't you think that is really how women, because we are caregivers, we focus more on this week, this month, this year? I mean, I think as far as in my mind, all I could think of a woman giving, taking care of things, I wouldn't plan for further than a year. But women in general, we need to retrain ourselves to plan for our futures, to really take that into consideration now and have it affect what we do.
Exactly. If you're married, think about your future without your husband. Start planning for that. Be more proactive and participate in your retirement planning more. And if you're single, create your own retirement plan.
Growing up, I told you that my grandfather really took care of all the financial planning, and I really didn't see my grandmother value herself as a financial member of the family. Do you find that to be still going on today?
Absolutely. I see it a lot whenever I do life insurance planning for families. You know, we spend all this time with the husband figuring out how many years of income he wants to leave for his family, paying off the house, debt, everything, and we come to a number for his life insurance policy, and then I always ask about the wife. You know, well, what kind of coverage do you want on your wife? You know, you have 3 small children. And the husband says, well, you know, she really doesn't work that much, so I don't need that much coverage on her. And sometimes they don't want any coverage on their wife. At that moment, I know that I'm an advocate for that man's 3 children, because he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a clue.
I can't even fathom, though, that basically what you're saying is they're sitting there and they're putting an estimated value on their life, but they don't see the value in their wife's life. And I'll be honest with you, I think most men have a difficult time running their households without the woman around.
Well, I know, and that's when I say, okay, imagine your day without your wife. If she didn't come home tonight, or she wasn't home when you came home this evening, what would you do tomorrow?
Wow.
And sometimes they say, well, I have a mom and a sister. There's
Not
that
the same.
caregivers again. I said, but how long can you depend on family to really take care of the situation? And do you really want to go back to work 2 weeks after your children just lost their mother? Maybe you might need to take some time off work. You know, women do so many things for so many people. So when you lose a sister, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, it's devastating.
It's a big loss.
It is. Just not on a financial level, but also on an emotional level too.
And you know, I think more people need to really look at the value of that. As a single woman, are there tools that I can use to assess my worth as a working individual?
First, I think a woman can just go about her day and just take notes of what it is that you do for others. You know, write them down. And then think about financially, if someone had to replace me, you know, what are the items that they would be doing? And make a note of it. And then go to the worthforwomen.com website, and there's actually a human value calculator on there. And it will calculate everything. And then also if you work, if you bring in any income, obviously, but it will calculate it all and assess your worth for you.
When do you recommend to a woman to begin planning for the rest of her life?
Well, I think as soon as a woman or girl is old enough to make, spend, or save money, she's old enough to start learning the financial information to help her. Good financial habits can start as early as when a girl gets her first babysitting job or starts getting an allowance. Truly.
That's awesome.
It's really never too early, and it's never too late. And being too late is on the other end of the spectrum, that some women think it's too late. I can't tell you the tough conversations I've had to have with some women, older women, and tell them, you can't retire this year. You have to work another 5 years, 7 years. Or even tougher, I think your nest egg will last till you're 82.
Which is great.
If you don't
only
live longer than that.
True.
What I do tell my daughter is that she started a savings plan, a retirement plan, and I want her to keep that going even when she's married and even when her husband is taking care of her or the finances. She needs to keep that going for herself. I can't stress that enough to the young women.
Yeah, don't let go of your personal financial identity.
And savings,
Yeah.
yes.
How great. What a great seminar. I love that. Am I going to be okay? What are some of the things that you find just incredibly rewarding by helping women with their financial planning?
I really knew I was in the right place. It was the second year I was in the business, and we give events and seminars, and at this particular event, a lot of the women were going around the room and sharing their story, and this one woman stood up and she talked about how difficult it was for her after her divorce. And she was a single mom, and she went back to school, and because she didn't know much about business, but she wanted to open a dry cleaning business. And she said it was very difficult. I was very intimidated. I didn't know where to go for help. There were so many things I didn't understand that the bank didn't explain to me. She said I had to leave my kids with babysitters a lot, and she said I always questioned what I was doing. But I opened my first dry cleaners, and she said now I have 5 of them. I put my kids through college by myself, and she started crying when she was telling us the story. And she said, this is the first time that I've been allowed to get up and speak and tell my story and be validated in my choices and in my sacrifices that I made.
And that was when you knew.
That was when I knew that I really want to help women so they can have more confidence and not
More
go through
choices.
that troubled time.
Okay, so for women who are inspired today and want to maybe even just take a baby step, how can they find out more about you or your organization?
Well, they can go to armorwealth.com and learn more about me and our firm. And we also do seminars. In addition to Taking Control and the Worth for Women seminar, I'm starting a new one that I'm hoping to launch this fall, and it's going to be called Am I Going to Be Okay? And I'm going to partner with a divorce attorney and really give women information they need to know before that divorce or before they lose their husband.
Thank you so much,
you.
Janet.